In this video, I want to talk about the unit circle. In trigonometry, there are very few things that are more important to you than the unit circle and knowing it well. And so I want to talk about all the degree measurements, all the radian angle measurements, and then all the coordinate points going around the circle. So let's start on the furthest interior, which are all the dashes for the degree measurements. Starting with 0 degrees. First line is 30. We got 45, 60. At the top, here's 90 degrees. Now we're just going to keep incrementing the same. So now we're going to go 30 more, which is 120. And now we're going to go 15 to the next line to get 135. Another 15 to get 150. Another 30, and we're at half a circle, 180. 30 more is 210, plus 15, 225, plus 15, 240, plus another 30, 270. Another 30 gets us to 300. Then we got 315, 330, and we end at a full circle, 360 degrees. You need to know those angles, know exactly where they are. So if your teacher tells you 150 degrees, you know right away where 150 degrees is on the unit circle. Now, you're not always given measurements in degrees. Sometimes you're given measurements in radians. So let's talk about how to fill in the radians. Starting at 0 degrees, which is, of course, 0 radians. Now, what you need to know is that every 30 degrees is equal to pi over 6 radians. So this first line, 30 degrees, is just pi over 6. Let's write it like this. Now, the next 30 degree line, so I'm going to skip over 45. The next 30 degree line, which is 60, is another pi over 6. So 1 pi over 6 plus 1 pi over 6 is 2 pi over 6. And you're going to have to do some reducing. 2 pi over 6 is the same as pi over 3. Now the next 30 degrees is just another pi over 6, right? So like we're just simply counting 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, etc. Okay? So 3 pi over 6 would reduce to pi over 2. The next 30 degree line, so we had 1/6, 2/6, 3/6. This is going to be 4/6. 4/6 reduces to 2 pi over 3. After that, so let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next line is 5 pi over 6, which doesn't have any reducing. After 5 comes 6 pi over 6, which is just pi. After 6 comes 7 pi over 6. After that comes 8 pi over 6, which reduces to 4 pi over 3. After that comes 9 over 6, which reduces to 3 pi over 2. After that is 10 over 6, which reduces to 5 pi over 3. After that is 11 pi over 6, which doesn't reduce. And after that is 12 pi over 6, which is 2 pi. So that's our 30 degree angles. Every 45 degrees is pi over 4. So now we're going to be counting 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, etc. So we got 0 to start, the first 45. So now we're looking at the lines in the middle. This is going to be 1/4, or pi over 4. The next 45 lands us at the top, which is 2 over 4, which we already have reduced to pi over 2. After that, the next 45 is 3 over 4. After that, the next 45 is 4 over 4. The next 45 is 5 over 4. Next is 6 over 4, and then 7 over 4, and then 8 over 4, which is already reduced. All right, so there's all of our radians. So if your teacher asks you where is 4 pi over 3, you need to be able to very quickly figure out that that's at this spot, 240 degrees. Okay, the final thing to do is the coordinate points. Let's start out with the easy ones. So the easy ones are going to be on your x and y axis. Here is the point 1, 0. At the top here we have 0, 1. Over here on the left side we're at negative 1, 0. And then down here we're at 0, negative 1. Okay, now we need the 3 points in the middle. And we already had a video on quadrant 1. I'm going to do my over a lot, up a little to get to this point, which makes this point square root of 3 over 2, comma 1/2. The 45 or pi over 4 line is square root 2 over 2, comma square root 2 over 2. 60 degree is over a little bit, so 1/2, up a lot, square root 3 over 2. Now all you have to do is take these points and just reflect them. So over here in quadrant number 2, it's the same 3 points that I see here, but since we're going to the left, the x's are negative. So this point at the top is just this one with a negative on the x coordinate. So negative 1/2, comma, square root 3 over 2. And then the next point is this one, just reflected over, so a negative square root 2 over 2, comma, square root 2 over 2. And the last point is this one, but reflected, so a negative square root 3 over 2, comma, 1/2. Now the points come down here, so I'm going to take these 3 points, I'm going to reflect them below the x-axis, which means now we're going to have negatives on the x because we're left and negatives on the y, so everything's negative. This point coming down here is negative square root 3 over 2, negative 1/2. And then the next point, negative square root 2 over 2, negative square root 2 over 2, and then negative 1/2, negative square root 3 over 2. Finally, the points in quadrant 4, I can go back up to quadrant number 1 and just reflect these down. So the x's will remain positive, but now the y's are going to be negative. So this point is square root 3 over 2, negative 1/2. This one is square root 2 over 2, comma, negative square root 2 over 2. And this one is 1/2, comma, negative square root 3 over 2. All right, I know that was a long-ish video, but very important that you know the unit circle and that you know everything on the unit circle so that if your teacher asks you what is the coordinate point at 11 pi over 6, you can instantly think of where 11 pi over 6 is and then what's the coordinate point at that angle. You're going to need to be able to do this and do it just kind of automatically, very rapid fire. So it's definitely something that you need to practice and get really good at.